kind of love the fact that the bird videos are trending on BookTube, on YouTube in general, because I personally love watching them, and this is gonna be that. So, hi, welcome to this video. If it's your first time seeing me, which it probably is, I thought it would be fun to talk about some of my recent favorites for the past month and a half, really, ever since moving here. My life has been upside down, so I wanted to kind of have a doc kind of have a recording of the things that I've enjoyed in the past month. Um, Also, I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the books, movies, shows, and stuff that I've enjoyed while crocheting. I love crocheting. I've been doing it for a while now. I've made a lot of stuff, but also that's one of the things I kind of forgot about as I was moving here. And I made this coaster. It's got a bit. It has coffee on it, so I won't show you. But I made a coaster, and I want to make another one for my other desk, for my desk. This is for my nightstand. And I thought it would be fun to talk about my favorite stuff while also crocheting and waiting for my hot cocoa to get cold so I can drink it. Also, this is one of my favorite things. It's not going to leave my decor because Halloween is over. I just love it. It's one of the first things I bought here, and I'm going to keep it here because it's cheap. I'm gonna start with books because that's probably the thing that's gonna take the least time. Because I'm a very slow reader. I love reading. I'm always reading a book, but the problem is I read pretty slowly, maybe like 20, 30 pages. That's my best days, honestly. 50 is like my perfect days. Especially because now I have work and I have university and stuff. It's a bit hard to make time for it, but I'm trying to like be more mindful to make a dedicated time in the day for reading again. But that's a completely different tangent. So let's talk about some of the books that I've been reading for the past month and a half. The first book that I read was The Witch's Heart that I wanted to talk about. This is a Norse mythology retelling. I love mythology retellings. It's something that I'm trying to find more of and read more. And this mythology in general is something I really want to learn more about. Um, and I read this one because one of my favorite booktubers recommended it a while ago, maybe like a year and a half ago. And what got me interested in it was the fact that it's about Loki. Loki is my favorite character in Marvel. Yeah, that's where I found him. He's arguably one of my oldest kind of celeb crushes and favorite characters, and half of that is because of Tom Hiddleston, obviously, which also helped this book. I've been kind of a Loki obsessed girly since I was like 13 or 14. So I really like him, and I also really love to learn more and read more about like the mythology side, not the Marvel side, obviously, of him. So I picked this up, and it was actually really good. I would recommend it. This book is about not really about Loki though. It's about the witch who marries him, and is also arguably the most powerful woman in the world. And we follow 𝒂𝒄𝒆𝒔. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. She's a very strong witch. She's working with Odin at the beginning of this book, but the Asgardians have betrayed her because she refused to give Odin a very dangerous thing that he wanted. So they betrayed her, and they killed her by burning her 3 times. And at the beginning of this book, she survived. She's such an ancient kind of person that she doesn't really even remember much from her own past because of how long she's been alive. And she's sitting by this in this very old woods, and that's where she meets Loki, who gives her back her heart because her heart is the thing that she misses when she runs away from after being burned 3 times. He gives her back her heart, and that's where the story starts. And it's the story of not just the two of them, actually. It's a lot more than just that. It's a story of this woman who's obviously burned at the stake and hurt because of her power, but also sought after because of her power. And we follow her through her life as she gets back into kind of living and creates a family and different bonds with different people. But at the end of the day, these guardians and Odin in particular will never leave her alone. And it's something that she has to realize is that she will never be left alone because of the power that she has and because of the fact that these people kind of feel a sort of authority over her and her power, and they want it, so they won't leave her alone. And it's also a story of the end of the world because 𝒂𝒄𝒆𝒔 is also a part of how the world comes to an end. And it was a really good story. I really loved it. It's also, there was a very interesting line that sums up a lot of this book, and that is, everyone knows I'm my father's daughter. It's my mother they always seem to forget. And it's a very kind of very true line when it comes to mythology, when it comes to stories, when it comes to a lot of things. The female characters are always the ones that are either forgotten or given all the blame. We see that all the time. And I really, really love this book. I would recommend this if you like Cersei, especially. I think you would really enjoy it. It's not just because they're two witches and they're kind of, but it's kind of the same sense of the female struggle and having to deal with a man's world. It's a really good book. I really loved it, and I'm also really looking for more Norse mythology retelling, because I feel like aside from Greek mythology, other things like Egyptian mythology, Norse mythology, Middle Easterns like my own country, Iran, and China and other Eastern mythologies, they're all so rich and interesting, but there's really not as much material around them as there is, for example, for Greek mythology. And I'm not saying that's like a bad thing because of Greek mythology. It's just that I wish we had more of other parts of the world as well. Because if you have any recommendations, please let me know. The other book that I've been reading, and I have not crocheted, think. So I'm gonna put the books down and actually crochet. The other book that I've been reading is The Secret History. This is my favorite book ever. This is not my first time reading it. Let me put it down. I love how unserious it is as well. So, as I said, this is my second time reading this book. I read it back in 2022, I think, for the first time. There's actually a vlog on this channel of me reading The Secret History for the first time, and I'm really glad I filmed it because, as I said, it became one of my favorite books. This is a story of, obviously, this is probably one of the most popular books ever. It's already a kind of a modern classic. We follow Richard as he moves to Vermont to go to Hampton University, and there he becomes part of a very interesting and secluded Greek class, and with only 5 other students, and they're very specific and interesting and kind of mysterious teacher. He becomes obsessed with this group and becomes part of them. We follow them as their obsession with Greek, as their obsession with perfection, and this kind of old, kind of better world that they imagine that matches their aesthetics and their privileged ideas more. As they become obsessed with that, the repercussions of it kind of creep into their real lives as well. It's obviously a story about a lot of things. So the thing about this book is, obviously, it's like the thing that is associated with dark academia, but at the same time, it's absolutely a critique of it. That's obviously not a new take, but when you read The Secret History, it's not promoting dark academia, it's not promoting elitism in learning. It actually is making fun of it. It's how unserious, honestly, the characters are, and how kind of out of touch they are with everything outside of their own little bubble. And we also follow Richard, who's obviously an outsider, and he becomes obsessed with these people to the point of kind of forgetting what he really is and forgetting the fact that he's not really a part of them. And as I said, this is the second time that I'm reading it. Honestly, I'm enjoying it much more because this time around I can really pick up a lot of little kind of details that's kind of emphasize what happens in the end and kind of hint at it. And because at the first time you're reading it is obviously the first time you're reading it, but now knowing how things end up happening, it makes it a lot more interesting. And also this time around, I feel like I appreciate how unserious every single one of these characters are a lot more than I did the first time. And also that Richard is such an unreliable narrator. Like, I feel like a lot of this is something that I'm making kind of another video about. And one of the things that I kind of really caught my attention is that Richard's obsession with these kids and Henry is to a point that I feel like it's kind of hindering what we see of Bunny as well. Because at one point, you feel like they genuinely love Bunny, but at the same time, Richard speaks of him that they as if they hate him as well. And I feel like it's his kind of jealousy to a point, and I'm really, really loving The Secret History the second time around, and I'm excited to finish it. The quotes in this book are some of the best that exist. Like, truly, it's incredible. The Secret History is genuinely one of my favorite things, and I love it. And I'm this like reading it for the second time really kind of reaffirmed that, rather than I don't know, maybe make me realize, oh, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was. I think I messed up, but I'm not sure where. I hate kind of opening up these. I hate that so much. Finally, the last kind of reading that I've been doing is Jujutsu Kaisen. This is volume 4 because I only have volume 4 and 14. These are the Italian editions. Because I'm kind of buying them slowly because I am broke. But I finished my kind of proper reading, kind of read through again of Jujutsu Kaisen. This is one of my favorite pieces of media of all time, and I love it. And as you probably know, it ended in September, and reading it a second time made me appreciate the ending a lot more than I did the first time. I feel like the first time I let a lot of the opinion online because I was kind of in the fandom space kind of hinder my own opinion of it, and I looked at it with a very kind of angry lens, if I'm being honest, and I had a lot of nitpicking. But reading it a second time, reading it kind of in a more linear way, kind of not having to wait for every chapter one whole week, I feel like I appreciated it a lot more, and it was a really good story overall. Jujutsu Kaisen is, as I said, it is genuinely one of my favorite things in the world. It's my favorite anime. It's my favorite manga, and it's going to stay that way. I knew it's gonna stay that way even if I didn't like the ending, but now I feel like I do. I like the ending. I think it was fitting of the story that was told, of the characters that were built up. I have some issues with the handling of one of my favorite characters at the end. Not his ending. It's Gojo. I have no issue with his ending and how things ended up for him, and for example, this is a spoiler for chapter 61. What happens into 61 is something that I despise that. I genuinely remember the physical sickness that I had the day that chapter dropped. And like, I got physically sick because of how much that chapter bothered me and hurt me because this is a character close, I keep really close to my heart. And it made me very sad, but at the same time it made so much sense for this story, and also it answered a very big question in the story for that character. So none of those are my problem. My problem was with his handling at the end, because I feel like um I don't want to really spoil anything because I hate people who spoil the manga. I feel like he's not a character like that you're supposed to just treat like any other side character. He's a really big part of the story and why Jujutsu Kaisen what it is and how big it is. So that was my kind of a very small issue with the ending. It's not a perfect thing, obviously, but for the story that was told, for the things that I got out of it, I really enjoyed it. As I said, I love the story. I love the characters. I love the points of it. I love how it takes a lot of the cliches and the norms in shonen. Shonen is a genre in manga and anime. I love how it takes those things and plays its own games with it. I really love all of those things. And if there's a lot of people who are like, oh my god, Jujutsu Kaisen is gonna mid and this and this and this, and I'm like, okay, so don't read it. If you don't like it, don't read it. If you think it's stupid, don't read it. It's yeah, I really love this story, and it's a thing with kind of any popular thing, really, that some people genuinely feel like if they like a popular thing, it takes away their kind of mystic, I guess. I don't know. But a lot of times, popular things are popular because they're that good. And Jujutsu Kaisen is one of those, and it's genuinely something that I really miss already. I really miss the feeling of having to wait, that kind of the excitement and the community that exists around it is not something that happens very often. There's obviously a lot of different stories as well that have a big fandom and stuff like that, and that is fine. But the scope that Jujutsu Kaisen was on is a very rare thing, and I personally miss it a lot, and I can't wait for the anime. I genuinely cannot wait for the anime because it's one of those things that, a very rare case actually, completely opposite of my other favorite manga, which is Black Butler, is that the anime is always kind of elevating the manga. That's how I feel about Jujutsu Kaisen, is that the anime is always elevating the manga because there's more time, there's more space, and with the manga and the weekly schedule, I feel like there was a lot of things that hindered how much potential Gege wanted to put in the story. But as a whole, as I said, I really love this one, and I'm sad it's over. Moving on to movies and TV shows, I watch a lot of movies because they're easier to consume, obviously, and I'm also a movie freak, so I always watch something when I'm eating something, when I'm washing dishes, when I'm making dinner, and all of this stuff. I always have something on. The thing was Beetlejuice. I finally watched Beetlejuice for the first time, and I have to say I really loved it. it was a very fun movie. I understand why it's kind of as popular as it is. It was very fun. I watched the third. I can watch the second movie in the theaters here, but they took it off, and I was very sad. But it's fine. It's okay. I watched Beetlejuice. It's one of the oldest Tim Burton movies. I really want to watch anything Tim Burton has because some of my favorite, like 2 or 3 of my favorite movies of all time, are by him. And it was a very fun, campy movie. Honestly, I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know how to give like a synopsis for Beetlejuice because it's such a, as I said, kind of freaky movie. I don't know how to explain what happens in it, but as I said, it was a very fun movie. It's kind of a cult classic at this point, and it is something that I see myself probably rewatching in on Halloween or just autumn in general. I also watched Lady Bird for the first time. Um, I don't know if this is my own fault, but I feel like I expected more. I feel like because of how popular it is, I expected it to be more than what it was. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but Lady Bird, it was a fun movie to watch. Honestly, it didn't really leave it a lot of impact on me, except for the ending part, which and when she leaves home, it's I I cried at that part because I was very emotional about the fact that I have recently left home. But aside from that, I don't know. I just expected more of it, but at the same time, I feel like it was a very good movie. It was a good movie. I liked the themes of it. I liked the fact that this story was about how she really thought if she left the house and she left their city, everything would be perfect. But it really is not. It's not really the place that defines your experiences. It's a big part of it, but it's not the only thing. A lot of it is you and how you handle different things. But as I said with Ladybird, I I just expected more. Yeah. And lastly, the two things I really loved watching last one were first off the Lego movie. I watched the Lego movie for the first time after maybe a few years. I love the Lego movies in general, the Batman and the Ninja one, which is so underrated. I love that movie. The Lego Ninja movie, perfect, 10 out of 10 movie. It's so underrated, and the Batman one is obviously incredible. It's probably the best Batman that exists. And yeah, I watched that. It was very fun. The Lego movie it's a silly movie, but at the same time, it's so fun to watch. And yeah, also the music and everything. And I can't wait to actually rewatch the other ones. I watched when Marnie was there for the first time. This was a incredible movie. I loved the when Marnie was there. It was there was basically about this girl, Marnie. She's very sick and her mother sends her to the countryside in order to live with a kind of relative and kind of get better. She's very antisocial. She doesn't really have any friends, and yeah, what she loves is drawing. And when she moves to this place, first of all, she has a very hard time connecting with the people there, and she's not able to do it. And there, she meets a very mysterious girl called Marnie in a very mysterious house that seems to be abandoned. But as I said, Marnie lives there, and she loves Marnie. She becomes friends with her, and as time goes on, we realize that Marnie might not be what she seems she is, and we kind of start to realize that maybe she's not even there to begin with. I love this story on so many ways. As I said, it's a very sweet and tender one. I feel like compared to a lot of other Studio Ghibli movies, it doesn't have those kind of super big fun kind of fantastical elements of maybe House Moving Castle, or I feel like I messed up so bad, but I also low-key don't care. So I'm gonna continue. Yeah. So when Marnie was there, as I said, it's quite a different movie compared to like bigger names with like uh, House Moving Castle or Spirited Away. I feel like it doesn't have that kind of magical, fantastical element, but at the same time, it's a very tender, slow, kind of familiar. It feels warm, honestly, this movie. It felt warm to watch. I really, really loved it. I loved the bond of Marnie and Anna, and also the point of the movie, which was about finding joy and the fact that a lonely life doesn't have to be all sad. I feel like Marnie, it's something that I personally really believe in is that even if everything is not great, you can still find reasons to be happy. You can still be determined to enjoy your life because your circumstances and your situation, or maybe the people around you, are making your life harder, making your life even miserable, honestly, sometimes, you still have a right to be happy. You still have a right to try, just try and find a sense of happiness for yourself. And that is kind of a theme in this movie that is explored a lot. And I really loved it. It's one of my favorites probably right now. It has a similar feeling to something like Kiki's Delivery Service, but I loved it so much more than Kiki. Kiki is very fun and enjoyable and sweet to watch, but it's not like the Ghibli movie that I personally really love. My favorite is Howl's Castle and Spirited Away, and now Marnie. When Marnie was there, it's also I might even like it more than A Spirited Away. I'm not really sure, but I think I do. Howl has a very special place for me because it's the first Ghibli movie that I watched, and it's one of my favorite movies ever. But this one, I feel like it's really, really close to that top point. I don't even know why. I connected really, really kind of a lot with it, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, let's get into shows because I have a lot more for those. Let me see if this is no, it's still for shows. I watched a lot actually. As I said, I watch TV shows and anime and stuff when I'm eating, so I watch a lot. The first thing was Attack on Titan. I've been watching Attack on Titan for months now because I watch very slow. I might watch maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but at the same time, I also started watching Black Butler in the middle of Attack on Titan. So, and I became obsessed with it. So, but I finally watched season 3 and season 4 in the past month and a half, and I'm in the final episode. I've been on it for 1 week, and what happens in the first part of the finale, a certain character who happens to be one of my favorites. I have two favorite characters, Hanji and Levi, are my favorite two favorite characters. And after watching the episode before the before the finale, the part 1, I was not doing okay. I have not been doing okay ever since that episode. It makes me so sad to even think about it. I don't know. I When I find a favorite character, it's a very weird feeling for me. I just cannot explain it, but I feel so much to them. And Hanji became one of those characters for me. And watching the first part of the finale, I'm not ready for this. I was not ready in the past week to sit down and watch the final. So I left it for the weekend. So I'm going to watch it tomorrow and be done with Attack on Titan as well. I love the story, and honestly, watching it made me realize that it's just objectively good. It's one of those stories that you cannot say it's bad. You cannot like it. You can like find it maybe even overrated. You can have issues with it. You can just not like it at all. But I genuinely laugh out loud right now at the people who call Attack on Titan bad. Because some stories, well, yes, art and stories are subjective. At the same time, some things are made and written on a level that objectively they're just good. They're just made good. The story is just good. It has the qualities that you can't deny. You cannot like it on a personal level, but objectively it's just good. So the people that I see like online and they're like, oh, the worst anime I ever watched is Attack on Titan. I'm like, watch Black Butler season 2, the non-canon, not season 2, the second part of the first season that they decided to for some reason not follow the manga, which is like perfect, and make something of their own. Just watch that and shut up about the worst thing you've ever seen being Attack on Titan. Yeah, it's incredible. It's 100% deserving of all the hype and all the love it gets. It's such a well planned, well thought out, well told story, and such an important one as well. I feel like I love the story, I love the characters, I love the themes, I love what different aspects of it represent, and I love the fact that at the end of the day, there's no bigger monster than humans, especially for other humans. Yeah, and I feel like the overall point to me personally was, I don't know, it's just such a big thing that I can't really just narrow it down to one point that I feel like it delivered. But yeah, Attack on Titan, if you haven't watched it, watch. If you don't like anime, if you think you won't enjoy it, 100%, I think it's one of the best things that people can start getting into anime with. It is animated. It has some of the best parts of anime, but also not having some parts that might be a bit jarring or new to someone who's never been into anime before. So yeah, 100% Attack on Titan was incredible. The other thing that I watched was Goblin. It's a K-drama. And while I understand that maybe the 980-year gap, age gap, is weird, I loved it. I loved Goblin. It was incredible. It was one of the best things. Not the best thing. It was. I just enjoyed it so much. But my favorite part wasn't really about the romance. Honestly, my favorite part was the dynamic between the two male characters that we have, who are like friends. I loved Goblin. If you don't know, Goblin is the story of this man. He's like a genie. He's a 990 something. It's called the 𝒑𝒍𒂄𝒅, which is a part of Korean mythology. He's lived on for, as I said, almost 1,000 years. He can't die, and he's looking for his bride, basically, who's the only person who will be able to put him to death, to in, end his eternal life. And he's waiting for that to happen because he's tired of constantly living and watching the people he creates connections with grow old and die, and again and again and again and again. And it's a very kind of sad take on eternity as well. And then he finally finds his bride of his, it's and he realizes that maybe he doesn't want to die. He wants to live and he wants to feel happiness for the first time. It's also about past life and new lives and paying for your mistakes and stuff like that. It's I just really loved it, especially the two male characters. As I said, I just loved their dynamic. And my favorite character was, for fuck's sake, I forgot his fucking name. The Death Angel. He's my favorite character. I loved him as well. So yeah, I really love Goblin. If you want romance, but you're willing to kind of close your eyes on, as I said, the 980-year age gap, get into it. It's incredible. I also watched The Queen's Gambit for the first time. If you like Dark Academia, watch The Queen's Gambit. It's the perfect Dark Academia show, and I loved this story is about Beth. I've talked about it on my other video as well, so I'm gonna kind of be concise with it. Follow Beth in this story. She's a orphan girl, and she's really good at chess. We follow her as she becomes a very well-known, incredible chess player, but at the same time, we follow her as she goes down a awful and destructive path of perfectionism and wanting to always be the top and do things their own way, and the price she has to pay for that, and the ups and downs that happen with every win and every loss, and how this perfectionism takes her to the worst places and also the best places. And also the fact that she's a woman in a very completely almost male dominated space, and also the differences of how that is handled in the West and America, very free America, and also Russia, which is incredibly demonized. And it was really good. I really loved it. Anya Taylor-Joy is one of my favorite actresses. Honestly, I want to watch everything with her on it. She's an incredible actress as well. And finally, I watched the Good Girl's Guide to Murder adaptation. I kind of messed this up, so that's why I'm kind of slowing down on it, because I want to finish it properly. I watched the Netflix adaptation of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Um, it's a really popular book, obviously, and I enjoyed the adaptation. It was very good. It was pretty good. Something I didn't like was that I feel like, I don't know, maybe I've read this book so long ago that I'm not remembering properly, because what I remember, Ravi was a much more present character in the book than he was in the show. I feel like he was kind of, I don't know, he wasn't as present here as he was in the book. He wasn't as charming and kind of fun to watch as he was in the book, as much as I remember, because I remember really loving Ravi and his part in the books. So yeah, I had that with it, but overall, I feel like it was a really good adaptation. It was pretty decent. It wasn't season 2 of Shadow and Bone, at least, which I love Shadow and Bone and I love the cast, but I just hate the choice they made with the second season and just putting 3 different books in one, and what they did with the Grisha storyline. Also taking so much of the impact of the Sticks of Growth storyline, but I don't know what I get into that again. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It was fun if you like murder mysteries. You should get into it. It was enjoyable to watch. I don't watch a lot of murder mysteries and stuff like that in general, and crime kind of oriented stories. And it was fun to watch. I guess it was there. That's all I can say. But I really love the actress. I don't remember her name, but she's in Wednesday, and she's also a K-pop stan, which is something that I am as well. So I have to support her. It was good to watch. If you want a fun little show to watch this autumn or maybe winter, definitely it's a good thing. So yeah, I think that's everything. I didn't finish this because I feel like I messed up. I'm not sure honestly. Let me. Oh, I messed up. Yeah, I'm not really sure where I messed up, but I did mess up somewhere in the counting. So I'm going to do the rest of this later. And just so you know, the petals are going to be in this color. So let me show you what's the final product going to be. Oh, I also got into J-pop for the past 2 months. I started with obviously the Jujutsu Kaisen opening, especially the third opening. Hidden Inventory overall has changed the trajectory of my life. I'm not kidding. I will explain that later. This is kind of going to be the final product. There's a bit of coffee stain on it. So I'm going to not show that side of it. This is going to be what I'm going to make, but with these two colors. That's everything I wanted to talk about. I love watching this type of videos, so I thought it would be fun to make one myself as well. And I hope you enjoyed it. Sitting here, watch me not do my crochet project, which I was going to actually do during this video. So there's that, but I will finish it eventually by the next week, hopefully. Yeah, that's it for the video. I think this is cold as well, so now I'm going to drink it. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. And I still have no idea for how to end my videos. I just want to go say Gojo come back next week, which I shouldn't. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day, night, whatever time it is that you're watching this video. And take care of yourself. Drink water. I don't, but you should drink water because so should I. So there's that. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.